Most people think poverty is something you read about in books or see on the news, but when we look at the world's poorest countries, the reality is deeper, more complex, and much more human than just numbers on a list. In this video, we're ranking the poorest countries in the world in 2026 based on income per person, not tourism, not land size, but how much people earn relative to how much goods and services cost where they live. We'll explore not just which countries are on the list, but why they're there, what everyday life can look like, and the challenges that keep progress slow. But before we start, welcome to Travel Wisdom. Which country on this list surprised you the most? Do you want a video that explains why poverty persists in these places? Drop a comment below. Your question could be the topic of the next video. Now let's get started. Number 1, Burundi. Burundi is the poorest country in the world in 2026. The average person earns just a few dollars a day, and over 70% of the population lives below the poverty line. The economy is mostly agricultural, but small farms struggle due to poor soil, lack of modern tools, and frequent droughts. Political instability has caused repeated waves of displacement, leaving families without land or homes. Healthcare is scarce, and many children don't have access to consistent schooling. Despite all of this, Burundians maintain strong community networks and cultural traditions that provide support and hope. Number 2, Central African Republic. The Central African Republic suffers from decades of conflict that have severely hindered development. Most of the population relies on subsistence farming or small local markets. Roads and transportation are limited, making trade and access to goods extremely difficult. Education is often interrupted, and healthcare facilities are minimal. Frequent violence and political instability make daily life unpredictable. Yet even in these conditions, local communities show resilience, helping one another through informal networks and shared resources. Somalia remains one of the poorest countries, mainly because of ongoing conflict, political instability, and environmental crises like drought and famine. Most Somalis actually live in rural areas, depending on livestock and small-scale farming to get by. Access to clean water, hospitals, and schools is extremely limited in many regions. In urban areas, like Mogadishu, you'll find informal businesses that provide some employment, but safety and security are still major concerns for a lot of people. Despite decades of hardship, Somali communities are known for their entrepreneurial spirit and strong family ties, which really help people survive in these challenging conditions. Mozambique has very low economic output, and much of its population lives in rural villages without electricity or clean water. Agriculture is the primary source of income, but unpredictable weather, flooding, and cyclones make farming really difficult. Infrastructure is pretty weak, so transporting goods to cities or international markets is quite challenging. Healthcare and education are limited, especially in remote areas. People rely heavily on community networks and local trade to meet basic needs, demonstrating real resilience despite repeated natural disasters and economic hardship. Despite being rich in minerals and natural resources, the Democratic Republic of the Congo has extremely low income per person. The wealth generated by mining rarely reaches ordinary citizens because of corruption and conflict. Millions live in rural areas without access to clean water, healthcare, or education. Roads are often impassable, which really limits trade and development. Security issues in eastern regions add to the daily struggles. Yet Congolese people maintain strong local communities, and small-scale markets and agriculture provide important survival mechanisms. Malawi has one of the lowest income levels globally, with the majority of people relying on subsistence farming. Fertile land is limited, and weather patterns are unpredictable, which often causes food insecurity. Education is free but under-resourced, and healthcare is stretched thin. Many Malawians lack access to electricity or clean water, and poverty affects almost every aspect of life. Despite these challenges, communities are close-knit, and local traditions and family support help people persevere. Niger faces extreme challenges from desertification, limited rainfall, and rapid population growth. Most people live in rural villages and depend on small-scale farming or livestock. Schools and hospitals are scarce, especially in the northern desert regions. Access to clean water is limited, and malnutrition is a serious problem. Economic development is slow due to weak infrastructure and political instability. Nevertheless, Nigerians are resourceful, often relying on community networks, seasonal work, and trade to survive. Nigeria is one of Africa's largest economies, but income per person is surprisingly low due to wealth inequality. Many Nigerians live on modest incomes, and the cost of living can be high in cities like Lagos or Abuja. Infrastructure struggles and electricity and water supply are inconsistent. political instability and corruption have slowed development, especially in rural areas. Still, Nigeria is known for its entrepreneurial culture. Small businesses, markets, and informal work support millions of families. Liberia's economy remains limited, with most people relying on subsistence farming and informal trade. Access to schools and healthcare is restricted in many regions. Roads and transportation infrastructure are underdeveloped, making it difficult for communities to connect and trade. Despite its history of civil conflict, Liberians are remarkably resilient, often relying on local networks, community savings groups, and informal businesses to survive. Sierra Leone has made progress since its civil war, but it still struggles with very low income levels. Jobs are limited, and many people rely on farming, fishing, or small trade. Infrastructure and healthcare remain weak, and education access is pretty uneven. Daily life is shaped by survival and resilience. Communities come together to share resources and help each other in times of need. Despite poverty, Sierra Leoneans maintain hope and continue striving for a better future. These rankings show that poverty is about much more than money. It's about limited access to education, healthcare, jobs, infrastructure, and opportunities. Countries at the bottom face complex, interlinked challenges like political instability, conflict, environmental disasters, and unequal wealth distribution. But across all these nations, one thing stands out. People show remarkable resilience, creativity, and hope, proving that the human spirit can endure even under the toughest conditions. Thank you so much for watching. Which country on this list surprised you the most? Do you want a video that explains why poverty persists in these places? Drop a comment below. Your question could be the topic of the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.